Well, you know, he pushes a coffee cup around the studio really well.
Yeah, I don't see work getting done here. What the heck is going on?
Marty.
Oh, do you need some makeup? Wow.
Marty's coming in here to give me a hard time.
Okay.
Whatever he says goes for the most part, and he's got the bigger, nicer studio.
He hasn't put the wet bar in there yet. We're always waiting for him to put the wet bar. For the three of us, it's a really nice relationship. I think part of it might be that all three of us are musicians. And I think that really helps.
I take music really, really seriously. I think music is a gift, and, you know, I don't take it lightly. Closing the door, putting my hands on the keyboard, as soon as I hear something I've played that is exciting to me, that makes me go, oh, that's a cool feeling. And then I'll start working in that direction. The important thing about interactive music is that it feels like it's scoring what you're doing. I want it to sort of sneak in. I can play with all these different pieces of music, combining them so they're overlapping and layering, and this will all eventually correspond to something significant that's happening in the game. So I have lots of different kinds of pieces of music. I have pieces that I call glue that are just kind of ambient, smushy sounding pieces like this. And then if I hit play on this next piece, it would correspond to a stinger, a little shaker sound. Then we can trigger a percussive piece. And then in the percussive piece, I can say, play an alt version, which means it's going to start to get a little bit more active. I'm going to hit stop, and we'll come to a nice natural out. And what's nice about all these things is every time I hit start or stop or alt or any of that stuff, it corresponds to something that could be happening in the game. If we have a significant moment and I say, so I just brought in the low strings, a trigger will happen, and then at some natural point in the music will do its transition or its ending or whatever it is. And I try to keep it as natural as I can. You're perfect. Just keep on going.
When this is over, that hammer is going in someone's ass!
You want me to stick what?
Ouch!
He must have been real scared of me.
It's really dirty.
On Halo 3, it was really cool. We were able to record dialogue in New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, and Seattle.
Take 2, 020 LA secret base, take 2.
And you, shipmaster, just glassed half a continent. Maybe the flood isn't all I should be worried about.
There are always moments in the game, like once you cross the river, trigger this line of dialogue.
Objective in sight! Watch for heavy armor!
But it's not like it happens at the same time every time. So we have 3 categories of dialogue, essentially. We have cinematic dialogue, we have mission dialogue, and then we have combat dialogue.
More shooting would be better, thank you!
Oh, did I shoot you? I'm sorry.
Don't stick a fork in me, sucker! I ain't done yet!
It's really important for me and Marty to get on the same page in terms of what those lines mean.
The combat dialogue is the thing that causes each AI character to seem like they're real. They'll respond in, you know, literally 1,000 different ways, and maybe they're funny.
Sen-effin-sational!
Or maybe they're scared.
I'm hit!
We have 35,000 lines of combat dialogue because we've lost our minds. And this is ridiculous. And we're trying to cover every possible situation.
This is my voice folder. It's an awful lot of stuff.
After the dialogue gets recorded, Jay has to go in and actually split them all up into individual files so the game knows to call them all separately. If the actor did multiple takes, he has to choose which take he wants.
We have 10 Marines, and one Marine actor has to get about 1,000 or 1,100 usable takes.
You got a real smart mouth on you, don't you? Kind of pretty, too.
And on the fly, the game code will go in and say, all right, he's attacking somebody with a gun, so say one of those things. Sergeant Johnson. So if he hears a foe, and he might say,
That's weapons fire. Somebody's shooting. You got cover. Bastard took cover.
He recorded 20 things. I'll select which one's the best and pull out the others. And those are triggered randomly. If he happens to say one that's particularly funny or kind of unique or whatever, we can assign a skip fraction to it that says, hey, you know, don't play this one so frequently.
My faithful, stand firm
Our enemies crowd around us. We tread the blessed path. In a moment, I will light the rings, and all who believe shall be saved.
Cinematic dialogue takes place during the cutscenes or the vignettes.
Until we kill Truth, stop the rings from firing.
Once I get the actors and I cut all their takes up, first thing I do is I say, okay, all you actors, like, now start talking to each other. So I do that just simply so I can balance the quality and their volume.
Jay and Marty and C-Paul apply post-processing to the alien characters, stuff that makes them sound a little bit less human. They pitch the brutes down.
Anything else, or is that all?
Killing you is almost too easy.
They pitch the grunts up.
He's pecking on me!
He's pecking on me!
The sort of the robot, little tinny voice on Guilty Spark.
A wise decision, given their predilection for destructive acquisition. A wise decision, given their predilection for destructive acquisition.
So we're right about 35,000 lines total that's triggered by the dialogue system. And then you multiply that times 10 languages. Luckily, those 10 languages go into the column of Graham's problem.
Yeah, Loc is one of the biggest jobs. French, Italian, German, Spanish, and we're doing, for Halo 3, we're doing a version of Spanish that is just for Europe, and then we're also doing a Latin American version of Spanish. And then Brazilian Portuguese, and Japanese, Chinese, and Korean. And we have to have ways of verifying that, one, it matches the English, and two, that it actually gets put into the game and plays where it's supposed to.
So this is the area where all of our localization testers sit. Chief, come to the back of the frigate.
What's this something special?
It's an innuendo.
Okay.
It's like, I got something special for you.
Jefe, ven al fondo de la fragata.
Jefe, ven para atrás de la fragata.
Atrás da fragata.
프리게이트 뒤편으로 오세요.
给你一个礼物.
특별한 것이 준비되어 있습니다. Tengo algo especial para ti.
In the end, we get as much stuff as we can in and get it sounding pretty stinging good, and then we bring Marty in and we play together.
When we're playing the game with each other and against each other, we're just making sure that each one of us can really listen now to what have we created from an audio standpoint, how does it work. See, this is really hard to get work done.
Jay, you need to put a fade out on the loop.
We can be talking to each other while we're playing, like, yeah, that's too loud, that's too soft.
Well, we'll keep struggling with it until we get it right. You can listen to something that for the first time and say, like, God, that sounds perfect, but maybe we should change this other thing.
Wait. All right, don't. I promise I won't shoot. Every once in a while, I can make sure that I kill somebody and they know who's still in charge. But then they kill me. I don't understand. The final mix is where lots of stuff finally comes together. And that's when we're really testing to see if the AI that's in the game is really making the right decisions.
There's thousands of sounds that could potentially play. It has to all mix together.
Which for us is all about variation.
You have 10 footstep sounds instead of one footstep sound that you hear over and over again, because that's annoying. The engine randomly chooses.
We actually try to hook things up in as small pieces as possible because it's the interaction of all those pieces that makes real life. It's like having a mixer in a box. The audio engineer is sitting inside the Xbox and is going, oh, let's do this and that and the other thing, and mixing the volumes of the game on the fly as you go.
If a grenade goes off right next to you at the same time that a guy right next to you is talking, the audio system is making the decision about how loud to make one versus the other. It's a very, very complicated system.
We actually turn down all these different sound categories, different percentages.
You want it louder, though.
There's this smart mixer that's mixing the audio, and we just make sure that he's always making the right decisions.
You know, you could say, oh, this footstep isn't that important, right? But if you try to make every single thing you do as cool as you possibly can, then you put it all together and you've got something really cool.
Dialogue and Foley and music and the cinematics and the ambience and the level and the sound of the characters running around. I mean, all this stuff comes and adds up to, you know, to make a total audio experience that hopefully is really satisfying for the player.
When they look back on their experience, they should feel like their experience was scored, but they should never be aware of what they did to cause it to be scored. Okay, that sounds good. Thanks for doing that again. That was great.